ICS is interesting because it's actually the reason why I decided to be an Annenberg student. And that blew my mind that there was such a program that would let you see so many parts of the world so quickly.
This was the perfect opportunity to learn about the role and importance of global communications and to see the world.
My dream at that time was to become Secretary of State or the Paris-based New Yorker correspondent. And this was a way to get closer to that while still being able to keep up the degree program that I was pursuing.
I hadn't been to Europe before, and it seemed like the perfect chance.
It was a program that just helped to continue developing that interest of what is happening outside my own country and how others think and see life and how that was different from how we see life in America.
The first moment that will always be etched in my memory is when I got to customs, getting ready to have my passport stamped for the first time. And I closed my eyes and stood in that line and heard probably more than 15 different languages. And that was the doorway to me understanding that I was standing at the precipice of an experience that would absolutely change my life.
It was the first real opportunity that I had to see what it might be like to work abroad. We had an opportunity to engage with media outfits like the BBC,
ITV and TF1 and The Economist.
Also with multinational companies, Disneyland Europe.
L'Oreal and the French retailer Auchan.
Nestle or Cargill.
And then in Geneva, we visited the United Nations, World Health Organization, the World Bank.
And the Olympic Committee.
It was really just the program in general. The way it gave you entree into, organizations and agencies that would otherwise be closed.
We got a chance to spend time at the Vatican. And I will never, ever forget, we had a private audience with the press secretary for the Pope. And it's in that moment where I'm sitting in the Vatican, listening to this press secretary tell stories about what his role is and the way he sees it as spiritual, as political. And that forever changed my perspective to think about how broad of an opportunity I had to merge what I was learning in the field of communication with a global perspective and still apply that in a context like religion that had meant so much to me for my entire life.
The people who spoke to us were great advocates for their institutions and allowed me to really appreciate diversity and to be a much more empathetic professional.
I think for me, realizing just like how small the world really is and how few companies really are in a room putting together these things that impact all of our lives, and asking myself, where do I fit in that process and what part do I want to play? And that led to me having a career later on in international communications, also working in Europe. And it's nice to kind of see the breadcrumbs now as I talk to you about, wow, is that where this all started?
Ultimately, I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to live and work in Europe. I moved to London with 20th Century Fox. Since then, all of my roles have been global.
So these were extremely influential to me and made me realize the importance, the significance of what a career in global communications could be.
Without my involvement in this program, when I moved to England, I never would have had immediate work. It's important to give back because it's given me so much.
I can't reflect on that experience without acknowledging how grateful I am to have received the Bill Faith Scholarship. I am the global leader I am today because of the investment of this program. And I'm thankful not only to those who started it, but to Gordon Staples and others who have continued to support it since.
I feel so honored to have been a part of ICS's 50 years.
My love for USC, for the Annenberg School, can all be traced back to that ICS program.
And I'm hopeful that students come back thinking of themselves as like, what's my place in the world now?
One of my biggest things is that companies and executives and alumni and supporters of USC continue to open their doors for students.
And if we want to strengthen our impact, we do that by strengthening and broadening our perspective. And where there is great perspective, there can always be the potential for great impact.